Part 160. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1591. The gods can only exert their full strength in the tomb of the gods, but why can Hu Tianzu exert 90% of his strength here? This made me confused. Su Tianxian explained on the side, he came to Earth with the help of the identity of Tashanzi Shitushan Fox Demon, and he just killed and absorbed the 72 wild immortals, the evil spirit. Hu Tianzu concealed the fact that he was born with the luck of 72 wild immortals, so he could exert nearly 90% of his strength. Hearing this, I suddenly realized. Hu Tianzu seemed to have lost his patience. He said to Huang Tianba and other gods, "Let's take action and take Lu Su away as soon as possible. We will also get out of that ghost place as soon as possible." Huang Tianba, Bai King Hua, and Cao Yuzu nodded. The four righteous gods all looked at me. Su Tianxian subconsciously protected me behind her. Seeing her move, I shook my head helplessly. No matter when or what happened, Su Tianxuan's first thought was not her own safety, but protecting me. I smiled at Su Tianxian and said, "Tianxian, it's time for me to protect you, right?" Su Tianxian was slightly startled and said, "Next time, the enemy is very difficult this time, so let me stand by your side and face it with you." I nodded and said, "Okay." I looked at Hu Tianzu, his eyes became colder and colder, and Hu Tianzu was also looking at me coldly. The atmosphere in the main hall was extremely solemn. At this moment, it only needed a spark to ignite this dull atmosphere. Huang Tianba took the lead and disappeared in a flash. A yellow shadow flashed in front of my eyes, and Huang Tianba had already arrived in front of me. Just as I was about to take action, I saw a bright long sword coming through the air. Huang Tianba's actions were hindered, and he could only stretch out his sharp claws to deal with it. The long sword came at full speed. With a clang, Huang Tianba's sharp claws collided with the sword. Tushan Yongxiao's expression was condensed and he kicked Huang Tianba in the chest. Huang Tianba took a few steps back, looked at Tushan Yongxiao jokingly, and said, "A little fox demon dares to be so presumptuous in front of me. I think you are too long-lived." Tushan Yongxiao didn't say anything, raised his sword and attacked Huang Tianba. At the same time, the demonic aura around Hu Tianzu surged, and the powerful demonic aura spread around him with a devastating force. The demonic energy seemed like a storm that instantly raised the entire hall to the ground. I, Su Tianxian, Lu Hangxuan, and Tu Shan Yongxiao hurriedly avoided. When the world returned to peace, Hu Tianzu's voice rang in my ears. "Lu Su, just go ahead and capture him, and you won't suffer any physical pain." I turned around suddenly, and I didn't know when Hu Tianzu was already standing on the ruins. The 9 foxtails behind him were waving wildly. I pointed my sword at Hu Tianzu and said, "Don't talk so much nonsense. Use whatever skills you have." Hu Tianzu sneered, and the 9 foxtails behind him instantly grew in size and rushed towards me like 9 tentacles. The foxtail galloped in the air, making bursts of sound. I held Jingxiao in my hand and hurriedly dodged, dodging one foxtail, and another foxtail was already in front of me. I could only hold Jingxiao in front of me. There was a loud bang, and the huge foxtail hit Jingxiao hard. I only felt an extremely powerful force knocking me away. I was extremely shocked. Is this the strength of Zhang Shen? Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1592. This is my first time fighting against Zhang Shen, and Hu Tianzu is considered to be of average strength among the gods. I held my breath and concentrated on dealing with the wildly waving foxtail. Hu Tianzu's 9 tails were waving extremely fast. I could deal with them calmly at first, but gradually I became a little powerless. I had no choice but to use the 9 Eyes Heaven Realm and use the 9 Eyes Heaven Realm teleportation ability to avoid Hu Tianzu's attack. With the help of Jushan Tianyu, it is indeed much easier. Tushan Yongxiao, Lu Hangxuan, and Su Tianxian were fighting with the other three immortals. I was facing Hu Tianzu. Hu Tianzu's expression became serious when he saw that I could deal with it so calmly. He stood on the ruined wall and said to me in a serious tone, "Lu Su, at first I didn't believe the gods when they said you were growing up very fast, but now it seems that they were right and they are continuing to let you grow. If you go down, you will definitely become a big threat to us." The demonic aura around Hu Tianzu surged. He jumped up and attacked me directly. He raised his palm and struck me with the palm. The demonic energy condensed into a phantom in the palm of my hand, crushing directly towards me. I was shocked by such a powerful blow. If it was hit directly, it would definitely kill the whole body. Thinking of this, I quickly unlocked the seal of the 6 spiritual veins, and the dragon energy of nearly 50 dragon veins was raging crazily in my body. I waved my hand casually, and dragon energy overflowed from my body. The dragon energy condensed into shape, and a golden dragon roared out. A dragon roar resounded throughout the world. The golden dragon roared and attacked towards the phantom of the huge palm. The demonic energy and the dragon energy collided together, and an extremely powerful aura burst out from the point of contact. In an instant, a powerful aura swept across Tishan. Tree houses were directly razed to the ground. I was also forced back by this powerful aura. The same is true for Hu Tianzu. I stabilized my body and used the teleportation ability of Nine Eyes Heaven Realm to disappear instantly. Hu Tianzu looked at me disappearing out of thin air, his expression condensed, and he looked around cautiously. I suddenly appeared before Hu Tianzu, raised his Jingxiao sword in his hand and slashed at Hu Tianzu. I condensed the dragon energy into the Jingxiao sword body, and the dragon energy accumulated in the Jingxiao sword flew out along the peak of the Jingxiao sword. The dragon energy condenses into a sword energy in the air. The sword energy split the earth, tore apart the air, and attacked Hu Tianzu with a devastating force. Hu Tianzu waved his hand, and a huge fox tail behind him blocked his face. When the sword energy came into contact with the fox tail, I heard a pop, and Hu Tianzu's fox tail was cut in half by me. Hu Tianzu frowned. It was obvious that he did not expect that my attack would be so powerful. Hu Tianzu's face was covered with a layer of gloom. He slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air, held his hand in the air, and a blue fan appeared in his hand. I looked at the blue fan and was slightly startled. Could it be the legendary King Fengshu? Before I could react, Hu Tianzu had already waved the fan in his hand. The fan flicked, and a powerful wind came towards him like a tsunami. Wherever the strong wind passed, sand and dust rose everywhere. Even the white clouds in the sky were blown away by the strong wind, and the originally hazy sky suddenly cleared up. I quickly activated the pure lotus seal. The hazy white light condensed into the shape of a lotus around me. Jinglian's defense is absolute, but I never expected that Jinglian would break directly in the face of Qingfeng. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1593. The strong wind hit my chest hard like a speeding truck. My whole body flew upside down like a kite with its string cut off. In addition, I also felt my blood rising, and scarlet blood overflowed from the corners of my mouth. As expected, this breeze sweep is not something that can destroy my pure lotus with just a swipe. I was blown into the air by the breeze, and then fell straight to the ground. A fall from such a high height would definitely cause serious injuries. Just when I wanted to borrow the Nine Eyes Heaven Realm and landed, I felt someone was catching me firmly. I looked back and it was Su Tianxian. Su Tianxian helped me land steadily, and he looked at Hu Tianzu seriously. Xiao Su, Qingfeng sweep is not something you can handle right now. I looked at Su Tianxian, opened my mouth, and asked, what should I do now? Su Tianxian looked at me quietly, smiled brightly at me, and said, "I'm here to help you." I was slightly startled. What Su Tianxian said about helping me was not helping me deal with Hu Tianzu, but something else. She stretched out her green-white index finger and gently touched my forehead. Immediately afterwards, Su Tianxuan's fingertips emitted a dazzling white light, and the next second, I suddenly felt as if something was awakening in my body. Endless power spreads within my body, and I am very familiar with this aura, which is exactly the same as the mysterious energy exuded by Su Tianxian. I looked at Su Tianxian blankly and asked, "Tianxian, what's going on?" Su Tianxian lowered his eyes and said softly, "Do you still remember that I asked you about any changes in your body before?" I nodded and replied, "Of course I remember." Su Tianxian slowly raised his eyes and said softly, "I have the purest bloodline of the Nuwa clan, and this bloodline has one characteristic." "What characteristics?" Su Tianxian explained, "After doing that kind of thing with the person you like, the profound energy and power in my body will be transferred to your body." As soon as these words came out, I immediately froze on the spot. "Why didn't you tell me about this before? If I had known this, I would definitely not have done that kind of thing with you." Su Tianxian smiled and said, "Xiao Su, just listen to me and don't be impatient. My Taoism and strength will not weaken in any way. On the contrary, they will become more and more refined. To put it simply, it is similar to the cauldron in fantasy novels. The yin and yang between you and me are reconciled, and the yang is replenished and the yin is harvested to achieve a balance. In this way, there will be a qualitative leap in your Taoism." After hearing this, I breathed a long sigh of relief. If Su Tianxian loses his moral integrity because of me, I will die of guilt. "I just opened up your meridians for you, do you feel any changes?" Su Tianxian asked. I carefully felt the changes in my body. This feeling didn't matter. I suddenly found that the breath in my body was many times richer. My current strength is completely comparable to the spiritual energy of 3 or 4 spiritual veins. Moreover, this breath belongs to me, not from outside forces. I was overjoyed. With my current physical condition and Taoist strength, it should be easy to deal with Hu Tianzu. I slowly turned around and looked at Hu Tianzu, my eyes full of coldness. Hu Tianzu's expression froze, and his face instantly turned livid. He asked me word by word, "Lu Su, what have you done? How could your Taoism have increased so much in such a short period of time?" Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1594. To be honest, I didn't expect that my strength would improve so much in such a short period of time. However, improving one's moral character is also a good thing. Because I'm going to face the gods in the near future. I am still undecided whether to join forces with Zhao Mian to annihilate the gods or choose another method. Although I am confused, I firmly believe that I will find the answer in the near future. At this moment, I am absolutely sure to kill Hu Tianzu. In this case, let's kill the gods today. I looked at Hu Tianzu coldly and said, "What have you done? You don't need to know about this. You just need to know now that I can take your life with just a snap of my fingers." Hu Tianzu looked extremely serious. It was obvious that he was also very afraid of my situation at this time. What a shameless statement. Mortals are mortals after all. How can they be compared with gods? A mortal dares to kill a god. This is the biggest joke I've ever heard. I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with Hu Tianzu. I took a deep breath and circulated the dragon energy in my body. With my current strength and skills, I can unlock at least 8 of the 12 spiritual vein seals. The 8 spiritual vein seals contain the dragon energy of at least 60 dragon veins. With the dragon energy and my current strength and Taoism, I can definitely kill Hu Tianzu. Dragon chi spread slowly around me, and the powerful aura gathered more and more, and an extremely powerful pressure instantly filled the world. After Hu Tianzu, who was not far away, felt this breath, his eyes became extremely solemn. I suddenly found that Hu Tianzu's hands were trembling slightly, and dense beads of sweat fell from his face. The eyes of Lu Hangxuan, Tushan Yungxiao, and Tushan Demon Emperor converged on me. Their eyes were full of shock. Only Su Tianxian looked calm, as if everything was as she expected. My expression condensed, and the dragon energy that filled my body began to slowly condense. Golden dragons condensed around me and shot straight into the sky. 66 golden dragons circled and danced in the sky behind me. Ho ho ho! One after another, the whole world trembled with dragon roars. I jumped onto a broken pillar and slowly raised the sword in my hand. 66 golden dragons circling between heaven and earth roared towards me. The golden dragons circled and danced around me, and the powerful pressure swept away in all directions with a devastating force. The entire Tushan mountain was filled with strong winds, sand and gravel were flying, and the originally clear sky was suddenly covered with dark clouds, with lightning and thunder. I looked down at Hu Tianzu coldly. Hu Tianzu's face became extremely solemn under the pressure of the 66 golden dragons. He took a deep breath and slowly took a step forward, and then, a powerful aura exploded around him. The two breaths in the air collided and became deadlocked. Lu Su, you must die here today. Kill you and take away the 6 evils. If you don't die, we will never get ahead. As soon as he finished speaking, Hu Tianzu's whole body erupted with a dazzling golden light. The golden light shines like a sun. Soon, the golden light dissipated, and a huge white fox came into my sight. The fox is huge, and a person standing next to it is as weak as an ant. In addition, this fox has 9 tails and is very evil. The fox opened its huge mouth and roared to the sky. The sound waves erupted from the roar set off strong winds, which made my clothes rustle. It seems that Hu Tianzu has begun to look directly at me. If I don't look at him, it is impossible to reveal his true identity. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1595. At this time, Hu Tianzu's voice suddenly sounded. Everyone, something will change soon. Let's join forces to kill Lu Su. When Huang Tianba, Bai King Hua and Cao Yuzu heard what Hu Tianzu said, they transformed into their real bodies and confronted me without any hesitation. Huang Tianba is a Huangxian, and his true form is a huge and majestic weasel. The weasel has auspicious clouds on its feet and rises into the clouds. The strong wind blows the yellow hair on the weasel's body. Although Huang Tianba is an immortal from an animal, his shape and momentum are no less than or even better than the legendary Kirin dragon and other mythical beasts. Bai King Hua is the white immortal, and his body is a large hedgehog. Its body is the same size as Hu Tianzu Huang Tianba, with white thorns growing on its back, which are extremely sharp. As for the Cao Yuzu Gray immortal, he is actually a big mouse. This mouse is also very large in size, and it is surrounded by a faint white light. It is many times more sacred than the mice you usually see. The 4 immortals looked at me coldly, their eyes full of murderous intent. Lu Hangxuan on the side looked at me with worried eyes, and she said in a deep voice, Master Tianxian, do we want to help Lu Su? He may not be able to win against Hu Tianzu and the others alone. Su Tianxian shook his head slightly at Lu Hangxuan and said, no, trust him, he can solve it alone. Seeing that Su Tianxian believed in me so much, Lu Hangxuan didn't say any more. I faced off with the 4 righteous gods Hu Tianzu, Huang Tianba, Bai King Hua and Cao Yuzu for a moment. The 4 righteous gods looked at each other and attacked me from all directions. In an instant, a powerful pressure fell from the sky. My expression froze, and I slowly raised Jingxiao in my hand. I commanded the blue dragons with Jingxiao, and 66 golden dragons circled and danced around me. Dragon roars resounded throughout the world. I pointed my sword at the 4 righteous gods, and 66 golden dragons received the order and roared towards the 4 righteous gods. The dragon roars in the 9 fields, the dragon roars in the 9 states, and the whole sky shines with golden light. The 4 righteous gods resisted the golden dragon in their true form. The 66 golden dragons are formed by the condensation of dragon veins. All Chinese dragon veins are real dragons. The 4 righteous gods seemed somewhat powerless under the siege of 66 golden dragons. I took a deep breath and slowly pinched the 9-level Thunder Jew seal. When I was doing the seal, dark clouds were rolling in the sky, there were bursts of thunder, and ferocious thunder and lightning surged from the dark clouds. I will use my own energy to gather the thunder from the 9 heavens to completely kill Hu Tianzu, Huang Tianba, Bai King Hua, and Cao Yuzu. They all came to the world as souls, and their true bodies are still in the tombs of the gods, but, if their souls are destroyed, their true bodies will naturally dissipate. The rolling thunder seemed to be able to tear the sky into pieces, and the mountains and rivers trembled with the thunder. I looked up at the sky, and the scene in front of me was like the end of the world in movies and TV shows. I swear, I have never attracted such a powerful thunder. This time the thunder will definitely kill Hu Tianzu and the others. I waved the Jingxiao in my hand, and the 66 golden dragons responded and raised their heads to look at the sky. Immediately afterwards, 66 golden dragons soared into the sky and rushed straight into the thunder clouds. Hu Tianzu looked at the sky, the solemnity in his eyes turning into fear. I looked at Hu Tianzu coldly and said, Hu Tianzu, the most wrong thing you have done is to underestimate me. You think you can control my destiny, but in fact, my destiny has always been in my hands. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1596. 66 golden blue dragons soared and rolled among the thunder clouds, and the pressure in the air was so strong that it seemed as if the entire sky was about to collapse. Just as Hu Tianzu said, I must kill the 4 of them as soon as possible. Hu Tianzu and the 4 of them no longer hesitated and rushed towards me in a flash. They were extremely fast and were in front of me in the blink of an eye. When people face things that are dozens of times larger than themselves, they will feel fear. This comes from their own hearts. Hu Tianzu and the others are huge in size. When I stand in front of them, they are not even as big as their toes. But there was no fear in my heart at the moment. Strength is the foundation for courage. Now I feel like I can do anything. My face hardened and I let out a light chuckle. The dragon appears. As soon as he finished speaking, a golden dragon wrapped in thunder and lightning poked its head out from the clouds. I gathered the dragon energy of the 66 dragon veins together, and then let it bathe in the thunder and lightning in the 9 heavens. The power of the thunder caused by this must be extremely powerful. A dragon roar resounded throughout the world, followed by rumbles of thunder. In the blink of an eye, the golden dragon soared between heaven and earth. Hu Tianzu and the others opened their big mouths to swallow it. I used 9 eyes heaven realm and disappeared instantly. When I appeared again, I was already standing on the highest broken pillar of the palace. I looked down at Hu Tianzu coldly. The 4 of them all turned to look at me. I slowly raised Jingxiao in my hand and pointed the sword at the sky. The golden dragon hovering in the sky roared toward me, circling and flying above my head. Today, I am going to let you know that the human being who you once regarded as a chess piece is now capable of killing gods. Hu Tianzu's pupils trembled crazily. I suddenly dropped Jingxiao in my hand and shouted sternly. Thunder falls. Boom. Countless thunders fell from the sky. The golden dragon was bathed in thunder and lightning and roared towards Hu Tianzu and other gods. Hu Tianzu's eyes flashed with shock, and then the auras around the 4 gods surged in an attempt to resist the thunder caused by me. However, they were swallowed by the golden dragon as soon as they released their breath. In an instant, The golden dragon turned into nothingness and disappeared between heaven and earth. Immediately afterwards, a very powerful aura spread around the place where the golden dragon disappeared. Thunder fell everywhere in the sky and the earth, blue thunder appeared everywhere he looked, and there were bursts of thunder in his ears. I felt that the power in my body was drained instantly, and I gasped for breath. The thunderstorm lasted for a full minute. A minute later, peace was restored between heaven and earth. I looked around and saw that the entire Tushan mountain was in a state of dilapidation and a mess. I stared at the place where Hu Tianzu was. I saw a figure collapsed on the ground, it was Hu Tianzu. As for the other three gods, they have already disappeared. There is no need to think that the three of them must have perished in the thunder and lightning. I flashed in front of Hu Tianzu. At this moment, Hu Tianzu was dying, and I placed the sky of shock on his neck. Hu Tianzu knew his ending, but he did not feel any fear and instead looked up to the sky and laughed. Ha ha ha. Lu Su. So what if you kill me? You still can't change the ending. You can't change anything. I looked at Hu Tianzu coldly and said, you can't change it? It's not you who has the final say, it's me. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1597. Hu Tianzu's smile became more and more wild, and the look in his eyes was almost crazy. Ha ha ha. Lu Su, you are destined to lose everything. Pay attention to the people around you. Maybe one day, they will leave you. Hu Tianzu looked at Su Tianxian, with a playful smile on his lips, and said, especially her. My pupils trembled slightly and I shouted angrily, what happened to her? Hu Tianzu just laughed loudly and did not answer my questions. This makes me anxious. Want to know? Hu Tianzu looked at me jokingly, the disdain in his words became more intense. I won't tell you, I just want you to watch the people closest to you leave you. The coldness in my eyes became more and more intense, and the jingxiao in my hand scratched Hu Tianzu's skin. If you don't tell me, I'll kill you now. Hu Tianzu sneered and then his expression condensed, and his figure began to disappear in the next second. I frowned, this Hu Tianzu actually destroyed his own soul. Lu Su, remember what I said, everyone around you will die in front of your eyes. And you are destined not to die well. Hu Tianzu's voice slowly dissipated in the air, and he could no longer be found in this world, as if he had never been in this world. Hu Tianzu's last words linger in my ears like a nightmare. From the beginning to the end, I knew that my ending would not be happy, because my 5 senses and limbs were slowly dissipating. I can accept my own death calmly, but there is no way that everyone around me will die one by one, especially Su Tianxian. At this moment, the strength of my body seemed to be drained, and Jingxiao slipped from my hand and fell to the ground with a snap. At this time, Su Tianxian came to me and saw that I was distracted, and asked with some confusion, what did Hu Tianzu tell you? I looked at Su Tianxian, my eyes full of scrutiny, and I asked word for word, Tianxian, are you hiding anything from me? Su Tianxian was slightly startled, smiled brightly at me, and said, how could it be? How could I hide something from you? I frowned and told Su Tianxian what Hu Tianzu had just said. Su Tianxian did not explain too much, but simply replied, I have nothing to explain. In your heart, whether you believe me more or him more, you can make your own decision. When I saw Su Tianxian say this, I didn't know how to answer for a moment. In my heart, I trust Su Tianxian unconditionally, but I have to believe Hu Tianzu's words, because Su Tianxian has behaved a lot strangely recently. I understand Su Tianxian's character. No matter what I ask or say, she won't pay attention to me. I sighed secretly in my heart, this matter, I can only explore it myself. When I know the truth and have the evidence, I don't believe that Su Tianxian will not admit it. The Tushan crisis ended when I killed the 4 righteous gods. However, what I didn't expect was that after the death of the 4 righteous gods, The 72 wild immortals slowly woke up. I originally thought that the 72 wild immortals had already lost their souls, but I didn't expect that because their souls were devoured by Hu Tianzu not long ago. After I killed Hu Tianzu, their demonic energy and souls would return to their original bodies. It's just that, the 72 wild immortals were seriously injured, their souls were unstable, and their Taoism suffered a lot. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanba. Chapter 1598. The 72 wild immortals stood up staggeringly and came to me. Their eyes looked at me with respect and awe. Immediately afterwards, they made a move that shocked me. All 72 wild immortals fell to their knees and shouted at me, "Thank you so much, Dao Emperor, for saving me. Today's grace will be saved, tomorrow we will definitely repay each other with a spring of water." I didn't expect that I just killed Hu Tianzu and saved these wild immortals, and they would respect me so much. From this point of view, they are not hopeless. I looked at the 72 wild immortals and said slowly, "Get up." The 72 wild immortals stood up, and I continued, "I hope you can practice in secret in the future, and never do anything harmful to nature." The 72 wild immortals nodded in agreement. Demon Emperor Tishan came to me and bowed deeply to me, and then said to me, "Thank you very much for what happened today. Without you, I, Tishan, would definitely cease to exist." I waved my hand and said, "You're welcome, Demon King, it's just a little effort." After a while, I, Tishan Demon Emperor, and Su Tianqian arrived at the Demon Emperor's chamber. Tu Shan Yungxiao stayed outside, and the Demon Emperor thanked me and Su Tianqian profusely. "Master Tianqian, thanks to the presence of you and your disciple, you two have given me Tishan a favor to rebuild. I can't repay you. If you have anything, just ask. As long as I can do it, I will do it." Wang will certainly do his best. This was what I was waiting for, and I immediately proposed to get Sudaji's 3 tails. After hearing this, the Demon King nodded in agreement without any hesitation. Then he ordered his servants to bring up Sudaji's 3 tails. I took the 3 fox tails and breathed a sigh of relief. This matter was finally solved. At this time, Tishan Wushang rushed in, and tears burst into her eyes when she saw Tishan Demon Emperor. "Father!" Tishan Wushang threw herself into the arms of Tishan Demon Emperor. Demon King Tishan rubbed Tishan Wushang's head with affection in his eyes. "I'm sorry, Wushang, but my father has made you worried." Tishan Wushang raised her pretty face, which was full of tears. She said to Tishan Demon Emperor, "Father, it's great that you are okay." Tishan Demon Emperor's cronies also poured into the palace at this time. They all knelt down towards Tishan Demon Emperor, saying that they were not protecting him well. Previously, Tishan Yungxiao said that he would rescue Tishan Demon Emperor's cronies. His plan was that he would help me and let Tishan Wushang rescue them. After Tishan Wushang rescued the Demon Emperor's cronies, I also eliminated Hu Tianzu. Su Tianqian and I originally wanted to leave Tishan, but the Tishan Demon Emperor insisted on hosting a banquet to thank us. It's hard to refuse such kindness, so Su Tianqian and I can only agree. In the evening, the banquet begins. I, Su Tianqian, Lu Hangxuan, Tishan Demon Emperor, and Tishan Wushang are sitting at the same table. Demon King Tishan kept saying thanks to me and reflecting on his shortcomings. If he didn't trust Tishan Zushi so much, this wouldn't have happened. In the final analysis, this matter is still the guilt Tishan Demon Emperor feels towards Tishan Zushi's father. However, this matter has nothing to do with me. However, there is one more thing I want to talk to Tishan Demon Emperor, and that is Tishan Wushang's marriage. I looked at Demon Emperor Tishan and said, "Your Majesty, there is something I want to tell you." "You say." I told Tishan Wushang about my engagement. After Tishan Demon Emperor heard this, his expression suddenly changed. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanba. Chapter 1599. Lu Deidai, you have arranged a marriage for my daughter. I nodded and replied, yes, I made a marriage arrangement for your daughter when I first came here. Now the Titian Demon Emperor respects me very much, calling me Tao Emperor one by one. Dao Emperor is not the one I conferred on myself, but is the name given to me by the Feng Shui community. This title is mainly because of the last time Mount Tai was enshrined in Zen. And what I did in Titian today will definitely spread throughout the Feng Shui world, and by that time, my name will be even louder. To be honest, I don't particularly value these false names. But it feels good to be respected. Demon King Titian looked embarrassed. He opened his mouth towards me but didn't say a word for a long time. I smiled at him and said, Your Majesty, I know what you are worried about. Just calm down and everything will take care of God's will. This marriage is also a good thing for your daughter. What worries you is, let's talk about it, maybe this matter will be resolved. Titian Demon King saw me saying this and didn't say anything else. I continued to say to Titian Demon Emperor, Your Majesty, the reason why I am telling you this today is so that you can let Your Majesty Wu Chang come down from the mountain. Alas! Titian Demon Emperor let out a long sigh and said, Since you have arranged this matter, I will abide by it. Don't worry, I will not embarrass Wu Chang. Seeing Titian Demon King say this, I breathed a long sigh of relief. The promise to Qin Fenglin is considered completed. As for what will happen to Titian Wushang and Qin Fenglin's grandson in the future, that is not something I should consider. However, Titian Wushang and the unborn Qin family boy are indeed destined to be together, and the two of them might become successful. After the dinner, Titian Demon Emperor arranged a place for me and Su Tianxian. Lu Hangxuan asked me about my next plan before taking a break. Next step, I plan to find Sudaji and let him take me to find Zhangzia's memory. Now I have obtained Sudaji's foxtail, and then I will find Zhangzia's memory. After Zhangzia's matter was resolved, Sudaji promised me to return to the palace voluntarily. After she returned to the palace, I would start to deal with the remaining two evil spirits. Huo Qubing and I had an agreement before that as long as I could defeat him upright, he would voluntarily return to the palace. With my current strength, if I fight Huo Qubing again, I will definitely not be as at a loss as the first time, and maybe I can really defeat him. After hearing my plan, Lu Hangxuan nodded towards me and said, In that case, I will go with you. I watched Lu Hangxuan open her mouth, but the words in her heart did not come out. I don't want Lu Hangxuan to face the next thing with me. Zhao Mian also told me that the gods have discovered that place, which means that the enemies I face next are the gods. Such an enemy, I'm afraid that Lu Hangxuan won't be able to handle it and will hurt herself in the end. In fact, the most important reason is Hu Tianzi's words. He said that the people around me would leave me one by one. Therefore, I was thinking that I should stay away from them before they stay away from me. In this case, what Hu Tianzi said will not come true. I looked at Lu Hangxuan's determined look and ultimately did not say these words. Then, Lu Hangxuan left, and I sighed slightly. Su Tianxian seemed to see what I was thinking. She stepped forward and gently held my hand and said, Xiao Su, don't think so much. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanba. Chapter 1600. Some things have already been determined by fate. All we have to do is let nature take its course. I looked at Su Tianxian and smiled, but said nothing. After a night of silence, the next morning, I, Su Tianxian, and Lu Hangxuan left Titian. Titian Demon King, Titian Wushang, and all the fox demons from Titian came out to see them off. Before I left, I did one more thing, which was to send that braided female ghost to reincarnation. If there hadn't been the braided female ghost, I wouldn't have known about Titian's great change, and I wouldn't have been able to get Sudaji's 3 tails so easily. I told Tishan Wushang, don't rush down the mountain when your future husband is born. Someone will come to you, and you will know what to do when the time comes. Tishan Wushang glared at me fiercely and said nothing. Instead, she came to Su Tianqian and said goodbye. After saying goodbye, we left Tishan. Since Sudaji and Zhao Mian haven't come to see me yet, I can only go back to Jiyuntang first. Nothing happened on the way back. It was uneventful. By the time we returned to Jiyuntang, it was already evening. I pushed open the door of Jiyuntang, and the hall on the first floor was completely dark. I reached out and turned on the light, and the dazzling incandescent light illuminated the entire hall. I suddenly found a person sitting on the sofa in the hall. The man's back was turned to me, and I couldn't see his exact appearance, but his slim figure made me feel very familiar. At this time, the person heard someone coming and slowly turned her head. When I saw her appearance, her whole body froze as if a basin of cold water had been poured on her. Fengluan. I couldn't help but scream. The person sitting on the sofa is none other than Miao Fengluan. I felt my breathing was short, and my body was shaking uncontrollably. Miao Fengluan has always been a hurdle in my heart. She did not hesitate to give her heart to me in order to save me. Miao Fengluan slowly stood up and walked towards me. Don't get excited, I'm not Fengluan, I'm Longji. When I heard this sentence, I thought it was not Miao Fengluan, but Princess Longji. I looked at the person in front of me, and the surprise in my eyes slowly dissipated. That's right, the person standing in front of me is not Miao Fengluan, but Longji. Although the two of them look exactly the same, the expressions between their eyebrows are completely different. The expression between Miao Fengluan's eyebrows was as peaceful and affectionate as autumn water, while the expression between Princess Longji's eyebrows was a bit more arrogant. I forced a smile at Princess Longji and asked, "Why are you here? Why can't I come?" Princess Longji rolled her eyes. I looked at Princess Longji and asked in a deep voice, "Where is Fengluan? How is she?" Princess Longji looked at me deeply and said, "Her situation is a bit complicated, so I can't tell you yet." Just as I was about to speak, Princess Longji looked at me seriously and said, "Don't ask, I won't tell you anything about her. But don't worry, I won't harm her." I nodded. I had great trust in Princess Longji, and she was the only one in the world who could save Miao Fengluan. While I was talking to Princess Longji, Cai Dai ran down from the second floor. Her eyes lit up when she saw me, and she flew towards me in 3 steps and 2 steps at a time. "Lusu, you are finally back." Colorful butterfly jumped into my arms and hugged me tightly like an octopus.